Good morning. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are. My name is John Svedat, and today is our 13th series of the 21-day challenge on Awaken Your Spiritual Neurons Empire. And today we are going to enter into a new phase of our journey. Okay, so we have been pretty much discussing and talking about how your brain has been programmed, the kind of limiting beliefs, the kind of information that we have actually been feeding into our brains, and how all that information has been, of course, affected us or impacted us um, from a conditioned perspective. Okay, so today we're going to talk a little bit about the concepts of the higher self consciousness. Okay, one thing that is interesting to understand is that uh, when we're talking about consciousness, and if you need to recall uh, the chapter or series in which we talked about the different types of consciousness, right? We made reference to what is body consciousness. And by body consciousness, I talked about brain consciousness, mind consciousness, right? And self consciousness. But up until this point, right, our self consciousness has been limited to what we have been programmed, okay? And when we are connecting to our higher self, we are talking about connecting with our mind, with our brain, of course, consciousness, and also with our self consciousness of whatever we have in the present moment and something that is higher than us, which is basically what we call the soul consciousness. Okay, soul consciousness. Um, or higher self consciousness in this case for you to have it uh, in a different perspective, right? Is basically your subconscious mind, your conscious mind, your intellect, and your actions. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about those four elements that compose our soul consciousness. Okay, so we are actually getting out of the physical to start experiencing everything that is non-physical and everything that is actually higher than our program mind. And of course, what we have been doing in the last series is becoming aware of our self-consciousness currently speaking, right? And taking into consideration that current self image, right? We have realized that we have patterns, that we have behaviors, that we have psychological imprints that somehow they have been stored in our memories, they have been stored in our long term memories. And something that I talked in my book is in the subconscious mind, like for instance, yesterday we were talking about the mechanisms of defense, right, of the ego. Those mechanisms of defense, what they actually try to protect is everything that has been repressed and everything that has been actually gotten unconscious, subconscious and unconscious, right? What will be something that got unconscious in our mind? All the emotions that at some point in time were supposed to be released, like a response of our experiences in life, but somehow those experiences were so drastic. Those experiences probably were so hard that the psyche and our brain actually didn't get the chance to liberate what it was feeling at that time, right? So when a little kid was punished at the age of 2 or 3, right, his natural instinct was to actually, feel anger or try to respond, right? But he couldn't because somehow that emotion, right, got repressed, and the kid was actually absorbing with the five senses everything that was going on in that specific moment, right? So that emotion became part of what it is, the subconscious mind, in terms of the memory and the experience, right? But unconsciously, it went into the unconscious mind, the emotion that's supposed to be released at that moment and never got released. So that is one of the intrinsic parts that we need to take into account, that is it's part of ourselves. Everything that is unconscious has some sort of memories, right? The only thing is that we don't remember those memories. They're unconscious, right? And because of those unconscious repressed emotions, we start developing attitudes and behaviors, right? And those attitudes and those behaviors, they're like imprints, they're like psychological imprints, which they get, let's say, uh, stored in an automatic way, right? And we start just behaving based on those attitudes that we have built in our mind in a natural way. So that's what is pretty much the subconscious mind, right? Everything that is related to um, psychological imprints, psychological, um, emotional dilemmas, anything that is regarding the specific experience that we actually got into the past, right? We still can remember the experience vaguely in the terms of senses. Okay, so everything that we have, for instance, seen in the past or in that specific experience, we can assume, or we can actually, in our mind, we can make a vague memory of what has been actually experienced, right? But we cannot remember the emotion. The emotion is just a response that we actually use in a moment in which that experience gets identified with a similar experience from the external world that is happening in the present moment. Okay. Now, everything that we can think, everything that we can generate an idea or an image, it's what is part of our conscious mind. Okay, so this is the second element of the higher self consciousness, right? In the higher self consciousness, the mind operates not only, right, with all the material in, or all, let's say, the memories in the brain that are used to create ideas, to create thoughts, to create meaning, right? We also operate with everything that is going on in our unconscious and in our subconsciousness, everything at the same time, right? And what happens is that we already have some sort of knowledge, which is our third layer, or the intellect, right? Everything that we have acquired in terms of knowledge, it produces in our mind a sense of judgment, a sense of analysis, whether the idea or the emotion or even the behavior, right, can be expressed to the outside world, to the external environment, or, you know, to the drama of life, which is the action. Okay. So we're talking about four elements here. We're talking about the unconscious and subconscious mind having a life of thoughts, of feelings, of perceptions that they're not easily remembered, but they are acting. They are actually being manifested. And we may be or not aware of them. Okay. In most of the cases, emotions and the behaviors, right, they are operating and we are responding according to our environment. We're actually responding to every single situation that is happening outside. That is part of that consciousness. Okay. Now, the second layer, which is the conscious mind, is actually absorbing and taking everything that is on the subconscious mind, which is those behaviors, and is trying to justify, or is trying to argument, or is trying to make um, some sort of image, right, to give it a meaning, right? And that is also operating in a way in which both the unconscious and the conscious mind, right, work together. Then the intellect comes, and the intellect is like that judge of the consciousness that we have in our minds. And basically, the intellect, what it does is that it makes the decisions for us. Is that little voice in our head, right, that is telling us go for it or don't go for it, right? Or this idea is good, we can actually try to plan it, organize it, right? That is our intellect that it's been operating, right? Based on what? Based on the knowledge, based on the ideas from the conscious mind, and based also on the emotions and the psychological imprints, right? So one of the things to, I guess, to understand in terms of having or gaining a higher self-consciousness is being able to be aware, right, of our behaviors, of our thoughts and ideas, being aware at the same time of the decisions that we're making, and being aware of the actions and the expressions or the manifestations that all those three parts in our mind are actually doing, right? And I know that it's a little bit of, it's quite difficult, I guess, at the beginning to understand the concept of gaining that self-consciousness, okay? But I'm just giving you an overall idea of what will be those components. And the challenge is actually for you to become aware of those four stages, right? Become aware of everything that is happening in terms of feelings and emotions, the ones even that you don't understand. Become aware of your mind. How is it operating? Become aware of the ideas, become aware of your thoughts, right? Become aware of what are the judgments that you're making, what are the decisions that you're making based on those thoughts, based on those conscious ideas, and also based on the behaviors that you're doing, and become aware of what is the result, what is the manifestation that is actually happening because of the decisions, because of the ideas, and because of the behaviors. Okay. Something that I think that it's, and of course, this is something that it cannot be explained at a logical level. You have to experience it from a totally different perspective. You have to feel it. Okay. You have to get in touch or connect with your own um, inner self in terms of those four aspects. Okay, so let's put it this way. Okay, in order for you to recognize that you are the soul, okay, and this is of course um, logical explanation that I'm providing to you, right? But more than that logical explanation as to what your soul consciousness is composed of, right? It's important to feel every one of those four aspects, okay? And the more you get connected to the feeling of getting in touch with all those sensations, even the ones that cause you fear or pain, or I'm talking about emotional pain, right? Or worried, anything that you cannot easily express in words, but just in the feelings, just become aware of those feelings. Just become aware of those thoughts, because those are part of the consciousness that is being manifested. Okay. And I think that the best way, the best possible way, and this is something that we're going to do real quickly right now, is we are going to connect with all those four stages in a very simple way. And what we're going to do is we are going to close our eyes for a moment. We're going to continue to breathe in and breathe out, and bring to our awareness a point right here in our forehead. And what we're going to do is just concentrate for a moment while we breathe on a point of light. And as we breathe in, we're going to visualize the air and the oxygen coming in and expanding that light. And as we breathe out, that light gets distributed to all of our body. And once again, we breathe in and we bring awareness to that point of light. I want you to allow in this moment yourself to experience the feeling of only breathing and bringing to your awareness that point of light being expanded by your physical action of breathing. And then while breathing out, what you're doing is bringing the light down and visualizing how your arms your organs, your legs, and everything that composes your physical structure is being nurtured by energy. Continue to breathe in and breathe out. While you are on the awareness of your thoughts and your images and your ideas, but mostly on the images of you bringing oxygen to that light. That light, by the way, is not just a point of light that is occurring in your mind, it's also all of the electrical signals that are happening in your brain. Remember that we talked about connections between neurons, and those connections they happened because of electrical signals. Electricity is energy, and electricity produces light. So if you visualize that all the electrical circuits are making light, little sparkles of light in your brain, what is actually happening is that you are creating, also you are activating light inside of your brain, and you're highlighting the importance of the light through your visualization, through your inner images. That is part of your consciousness because you are creating that. You are actually experiencing and living, right, that image of the light that is happening inside. Continue breathing while you expand all the sparkles of light and try to bring to your awareness what is it that you're feeling at this moment while I am explaining to you, while I'm going through the process of breathing, visualizing my light. I am also consciously having this feeling of peace, tranquility, and my mind might be a little bit conflicted by any external worries, and I'm making the effort to put those worries aside for a moment and just try not to judge them, or I'm not trying to identify the word for it. I'm just feeling peace. I'm feeling compassion, and I'm feeling a sense of self respect. I'm bringing to my consciousness patience, love. I'm bringing to my consciousness honor. And all those feelings, they are manifesting in my conscious mind as part of my essence. They are actually being part of my mind. And while My conscious and my unconscious mind are concentrating on the light. My intellect, which is the knowledge that I am sharing, which is the words that I am expressing. My intellect is making the judgment, is taking the decision to express what I am feeling and to express what I am thinking. That's my intellect which is operating right now. My intellect is making the decision to share this experience with you. And while I am experiencing this and you're watching to this video, you're also allowing yourself to experience listening. You're allowing yourself to breathe. You're allowing yourself to feel, to create images, and physically continue to breathe. Physically listen. While in my side, my physical experience is being the transmission, the voice that is coming out loud from everything that I am experiencing at this moment. Everything that I am doing right now is getting connected simply with my higher self consciousness. I am getting connected with the essence of who I am. And that is what composes consciousness at a higher level. Again, this is something that I don't want you to understand it from your logical perspective. Okay? I want you to just feel it. I want you to spend some time today, and this is the challenge for today. I want you to experience sitting quietly and connect with your feelings, connect with your thoughts, connect with the voices in your mind, and connect with everything that is happening at a biological level. And I want you to take notes of that experience. Try to identify how do you feel with that experience. And while you do that, always remember that there are two elements that are important. One is the element of breathing, and the other one is expanding, visualizing, and expanding all the light that you see in your forehead. I hope this exercise will help you not only going through your day, but also to stay connected to that consciousness of light that resides in yourself. Many blessings. Have a wonderful day. And remember that you are light. Remember that you are a powerful, powerful source of energy. An energy within and around you. Many blessings.